What's up, Cardfighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you the updated Japanese build for VMAX. Stay tuned.
Stand up, Vanguard!
Starting with our grade 3s, we are playing 4 copies of Dragon Vanquisher. Vanquisher, of course, being the main guy in this deck. His on-stride skill is probably one of the better things that helps accelerate this deck's performance, so as long as your opponent has that unit in the front row. So it's really fun because when you're playing against this type of deck, you have to make a choice of like, oh wait, if I leave my unit on the board, then it's going to be bound by Vanquisher, but if I don't leave it, that means I can't get an attack. So you kind of do a little bit of a mind games with this deck. And then next we got 2 copies of Great Composure Dragon. The next 2 spots for this one are actually kind of like fillers. The most popular played ones are Great Composure Dragon and I believe Armor Break. Armor Break being that it completely obliterates grade 1 7Cs just because they don't have any perfect cards. You know, you're not going to be able to guard such a high attack with all that crit, so it's basically insta-kill. So I think Armor Break is a really fun tech, but I went ahead and went with Great Composure just because we are in a Gear Chronicle heavy type meta. Moving on to grade 2s, we are running 4 copies of Chatera. He is a staple in any Narukami deck just because of his ability to add so much pressure. He's an 11k swinger and he also gets you draw cards and lets you bind. He does everything that Narukami like literally wishes for. And next we got 3 copies of Rock Climb Dragoon. Rock Climb is really great for those extra binds, and also you get some extra swing power just because he does become an 11k beater for that turn. Next we got 3 copies of one of my favorite cards. It's a Martial Arts Dragon. This card is great, not only because he is a 12k beater at Thunderstrike 2, but his ability to stop that really early game aggression, and he also helps accelerate your bind. This deck is pretty counterblast heavy, but I'm sure if you play your cards right, the counterblast won't be that much of an issue for you. So his early aggression is really funny, so whenever you feel like they're calling down all the grade 2, say if you're playing against like Sanctuary Guard for example, you can throw this down on your grade 2 ride and get some solid field control and swing power late game. It's really nice. And next we got 2 copies of Voltage Horn Dragon. The reason why I wasn't playing a 4th Rock Climb and a 4th Martial Arts was because I needed something that didn't really require soul and a little bit extra, you know, retiring and binding power. And Voltage Horde was pretty much that answer for me. The fact that he has to be boosted isn't the best because we don't really have a lot of dedicated boosters in this particular build, but it does come in handy if you just need that extra bind. Moving on to our grade 1s, we're playing 4 copies of Anastasia. Of course, we need to get those unflipping perfect cards going just because, you know, this is a really counterblast heavy deck. And next we got 4 copies of Mighty Bolt Dragoon. Mighty Bolt is of course stride fodder. This is a stride based deck. You of course want to be striding as much as possible. Then we got 4 copies of Chain Bolt Dragoon. This is the best grade 1 in Narukami, at least for Vanquisher right now. Basically he adds so much power and so much bind power as well, as long as you have like, say if you have like 3 of them in the back row, that's plus 6k somewhere, and also you get 3 extra binds. It's so good. Combos very well. You can use this during your turn, and say if you bulwark during their turn, then the skill will go off. You get extra bind. Really good card. And then next we got 3 copies of this Dragon Dancer. This is super good because it's Thunderstrike 2. You get to on play Soul Blast 1, draw a card. So basically it's a substitute for the chicken, but it is a 6k, so you have a little bit extra power, and the Thunderstrike 2 isn't that difficult to get to. Moving on to our triggers, we're actually playing a rainbow lineup for this one. This is actually one of the most fun builds I've actually played just because of its trigger lineup. So we got the 4 heal, the 4 draw, 4 crit, and 4 stand. You gotta play Seraph because this is the Vanquisher build. It's gonna help you build that soul and get some nice, you know, type of hand filtering because you get to draw. Dragon Dancer Vian for the stand trigger. This is really good because it also helps you unflip, and you basically get some extra triggers in the deck just in case if you do pull off the skill. And then you play any draw trigger. We're playing the Jin of Paranoia because his art is really cool. And then we're playing 4 heals of course because you want to G card and you want to stay alive. The reason why I'm playing this rainbow lineup is because of its versatility. You definitely need draws in this deck because you need pieces, and basically like any red clan, or really just Kagero and Narukami, you definitely want to draw the cards that are going to help you kill your opponent. This deck also needs crits. The stand triggers, I think that it's also necessary just because of the insane power that this deck can receive, thanks to Vanquisher Voltage. If you're gonna, once this deck basically starts rolling, it just like steamrolls and like powers through. It's really strong once it gets going. So the stand triggers really help add a lot of pressure. And our starter for the deck is Wild Run Dragoon. This is arguably the best starter for Vanquisher build right now, just because of its easy ability to get an extra bind and also add 5k power as a Thunderstrike 2 ability to any unit. So this is really good because if say it's your first stride and you pop one of their units in the front row and then you go ahead and just throw them in the soul, that's already a Thunderstrike 2. So you activate Martial Arts G-Break 1, you activate your Dragon Dancers for those extra draws. All around really great card. Moving on to our G-Zone, we're playing 4 copies of Vanquisher Voltage. Voltage is ideally our first stride in this deck because you want to, of course, have a lot of, like flipped up Vanquishers in your G-Zone to set up for VMAX. And not only that, he's just a solid second stride for his G-Break 3. Because if you end up getting a lot of those like binds or bound cards in your opponent's field, then those 3k powers really add a lot to your numbers, especially since all of your numbers are like 18, for example, or they are running 16. Then it's gonna, you're gonna have so much power even during your first stride. Say if you martial arts and then you VMAX, say if you martial arts and then you voltage and you Wild Run Dragoon, yeah, that's about 2 counterblast right there, but you're pushing a lot of power and you're pushing a lot of cards out of your opponent's hand at the same time. Next we got 4 copies of Conquest Dragon. Conquest is all around just a great card just because it's free. If you're not able to get some bound cards in your opponent's field, then of course you can go ahead and start killing stuff with Conquest for free. The 10k power is pretty helpful, especially if you're pushing for game at least. But usually Voltage is usually the one to get the kill for you. If not Voltage, then it will be VMAX. And of course the big bad dude himself, we are playing VMAX. Unfortunately, we are still only playing 1. Can't get that second copy right now, but if I could, I would definitely be playing him over this Zorus right here. But VMAX, all around a great finisher. The cost is pretty hefty, but if you're able to pull it off, you are a god. But also the multi-attacks to both Vanguard and Rears are very helpful if you want to get some of like pesky resist units, for example. The only thing that really can stop that is Dismal. And our backup would be Zorus. Like I said, this is usually not the first stride anymore because you would just go into Vanquisher Voltage as your first stride since it's basically the same thing. But Zorus would probably just be flipped into another VMAX. And our other backup would be Voltic Sapper Dragon. This guy is just really funny because he's a free Atmos. Since on swing Thunderstrike 3 he does get that plus 10k power. And also you get some extra binds just in case you want to get his skill off for a measly counterboss 1. For G guys, we're playing 2 Vitra, easy 20k shield for that one. We're playing the 1 Dismal, because, just in case you play the Mirror or you play Deep Police or something. And then we got 2 copies of Bulwark Dragon. We're playing 5 G guards in this one just because we want some versatility. If not, I would actually just drop one of the G guards and add another VMAX if I want to end up keeping a Zorus in there. But Bulwark is really a really funny card. It wasn't as good as I thought it was when it was initially released because I thought it was like, what's it called, Denial Griffin. But unfortunately you have to successfully guard the attack in order to retire it, which is pretty bad. But this is a 25k shield, so that's actually really strong. But the really good part about this is that for every 4 you get to choose up to 1 rearguard and rest in your opponent's front row, and you get to retire it. It doesn't get bound, unfortunately, but you still get to clear that front row, which is neat. Thanks for watching, guys. That was it for our Japanese build of Vanquisher VMAX. This is all around a really fun build. It's basically something to stray away from the standard like 7 crit 5 draw. I found this to be actually a lot more fun than those builds in particular, just because those stand triggers are really gnarly. The only thing about the grade ratio is, of course you're running a low count grade 3, but that's what the grade 2 makes up for. Since you're playing a lot more aggro grade 2, it's a very aggressive deck. That's what I actually really like about it. But anyways, guys, that was it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down below of the deck. Like I always say, like our videos, comment down below if you guys have any questions, and subscribe for more content. Vanguard Central out.